Okay, so hello, Robert. Welcome to Tub Time. So great to have you. I know it took like forever to schedule this. I'm so sorry about that. I'm literally just getting back into the swing of things,
No
but
worries. It's fine.
but yeah, so how's your week been? I'm really interested in listening to everything that you do. I mean, I'm especially intrigued by the fact that you're both a voiceover artist and an attorney, and you also just so happen to have represented the voice of TikTok, which is
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
So if you want, we can just dive into that. We have about 40,
Sure.
so go crazy, go off.
Excellent. Yeah. And like you said, I'm a voiceover artist and an attorney. I'm also an on-camera actor, and I produce films and TV shows as well. And like you mentioned, I represented the original voice of TikTok, Bev Standing. And the reason why I represented her is because she was the voice of TikTok, but she didn't give permission to be the voice of TikTok. So she just heard herself on as the text to speech voice because her daughter alerted her one day, and she's like, why am I how did I get on TikTok?" So that's how I got involved to unravel the mystery and represent her and take care of the situation.
How
So
did her voice even appear on an app that she's never even been on? That's so crazy to me. How did you kind of unravel this whole situation and investigate it?
yep, so it turns out that I've been dealing with text to speech things in AI for a long time. I've been involved with it since, when they first started developing the voices. So I kind of went through all the stages of progression. And we figured out that I asked her, did you do any jobs where you had to read a lot of lines? Like lots and lots, 10,000 lines over a period of time, because that's what they used to do back in 2007, 8 period. He's like, yeah, well, I did this one job for this place, and that was supposed to be for translation in China for this place in the Netherlands. And I was like, that's it. So I was like, send me that info. And then it turned out that she had got hired to record. They said it was for translation for Chinese to English, and it was for some place supposedly out of the Netherlands, and that's what they were supposed to be using it for. So she, recorded all these lines, all these files for days and days and days, and sent them over. But they turned around and I think it was a Chinese company, actually, not a Netherlands company. They turned around and they were selling the files. So they sold them to TikTok.
That's
So
insane. Did they just hear her voice and they were like, "Oh, this is the one. This is the voice where you
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how TikTok chose, but I mean, they just, I don't, that obviously they had places that they went to that were giving them files so that they can sample them, and that's the one. She was the one that they chose. Totally, none of her, nothing, all without any knowledge on her part. Like she didn't have anything to do with that. She just all of a sudden, like I said, her voice. Her daughter heard her voice as the text to speech, and like when you put in the scripts and
I mean,
the
I've
AI
heard the
voice
voice.
speaks.
I use
Yeah,
TikTok. I've heard the voice, and I honestly thought that it was just a computer that was talking. I had no idea that it was actually her behind this whole time.
well, it is a computer. And what the computer does is the computer compiles all the text that you put in and puts it all together and makes it sound.
Mhm.
I mean, much better now, like than it used to be at the beginning. Putting things together
Now they're
sounds more natural
making
now.
actual people that
Yeah,
are AI, which is so freaky to me.
much more natural now. The computer still puts it together. So, but it sounds a lot. It sounds more like the original person than you can't really tell
Right.
that it's AI anymore because it's advanced. But so that's how it happened. And I brought a lawsuit. I sued them in the Southern District of New York federal court, and I brought a copyright claim because they had they didn't sign a contract or anything when she was doing that original job. So and she recorded all the files from her home studio. So I just said that she owned the files, and that was how we pursued. the case, and it ended up getting resolved and worked out, and everyone was happy, and it worked out okay in the end. But just a crazy situation. So it opened a lot of people's eyes. Definitely.
He must love TikTok now.
Well, I do what she does. Yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah, we have no issues with them anymore, and they did the right thing too, which was good. So,
Okay, that's so crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, did you write a book about it or is your
well, I wrote a book called Voiceover Legal.
okay.
So the book is just about general legal issues that a voiceover artist or an actor would face on a day-to-day basis. But that's how people know me in the
Yeah.
voiceover business. So that's how I've met Bev other times because I've seen her at conferences and things, but she knows my book, of course, and that was one of the reasons why she hired me as her attorney
Mhm.
because of the book. But that's how I meet a lot of voice talent because they know my book, they know I'm a lawyer, and something happens, then they call me up on a daily basis. It happens every day. Something happens every day. So
Wow. Situations like this, they happen a lot to voice actors, like pretty much all the time. I mean, I don't feel like people kind of go into, I guess, stealing sound bites with like malicious intention, but it's still, you have the right to your voice
right.
at the same time. So how does that line kind of get transgressed, and what are the boundaries that people need to be aware of when kind of using another person's voice
Yeah,
for
I mean
their
there's
own
different variations of it, of course. I mean, TikTok was more sophisticated. It was AI. So
right.
that's a new area
That's
that
a
voice
whole
actors have to
twist.
worry about. And there's the National Association of Voiceover Artists was formed last year.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that's like their big champion. They're trying to make sure voice actors are not exploited by AI, try so that they don't lose jobs to AI, that people don't swipe their voices. So I actually wrote a rider to put on their contracts so that they can make sure that those things are covered so that everyone's on the same page and they understand, we're not going to swipe your, even though they may not even think about it, the client doing
Mhm.
that, but it just puts the awareness out there, and it protects the clients or the talent in case the clients do it. But there's other, I mean, this is just, it's kind of a variation because of technology, but voice talents for forever. Like they would do it, they would do a gig and it was only supposed to run for a certain period of time, a year or something, and then clients would use it for years and years and years. I mean, that's another example of what they go through. So why they would come to me to try to help them, or they'll do an audition, and people just swipe the audition and use it and don't pay them. That's another thing that happens to voice talent. So those are different. They're all in the same category, but they're different variations. So the AI is more high profile, and it's more in the forefront because it's new, it's a new thing. But those other things has been happening forever. So
That's crazy. And did you initially get into law? Did you get into filmmaking? Did you get into voice acting? That you have a very interesting range of talents that I
thank
really
you.
haven't uncovered. So
Yeah, I started well back in when I was in high school and college. I was more the tech guy, so I was a DJ, and that's
nice.
how I got used. That's how I got into the arts. Um, but I became a lawyer. So actually, when I went to law school, I was debating on whether or not I wanted to be a DJ on the radio or go to law school. And so I did an internship at my local radio station, and the DJs were like, "What do you go to law school? Well, what's the matter with you? Like, why would you want to come here? They don't pay anything here. It's really hard. Go if you got a brain, go to law school." Like so. So that's why I decided, I mean, that was not the only factor, but that was one of the factors in my deciding to go to law school. And I became a lawyer. And that was right out of college. Then, about 10 years, when I was practicing about 10 years, that's when I got into voiceovers. And what I did was I just took an adult ed class because I I was flipping through the bulletin. I always took adult ed things. I always wanted. I still do them now. Just to
Right.
see interesting things that are out there. And one of the things was voiceover, and I didn't know what voiceover was when I took the class. I was just exploring it, and after I took that class, I said I want to do it. I just told myself I'm doing this. So I took more classes, cut a demo, voiceover demo, started going up online, auditioning. And the first gig I landed was on a PBS national TV show
Whoa.
called The American Experience. I don't know if you ever heard of that
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
It's been around forever, whatever, whatever.
I've totally heard
So
of it. Yeah.
I did an episode of The American Experience right out of the gate. So it was yeah, that's how I started. So
That's crazy. And what other gigs have you done? What's like your favorite gig that you've done? What's your most favorite? What's your least favorite that you've done?
so that I got both of those covered. Well, I have a bunch of favorites, but the one that's the most prominent, the one that's everyone knows about, is I did a Super Bowl commercial. So I was in Chevy Happy Grad. It was the one where the kid comes out that's out in the street, but he's really getting a mini fridge. They were giving him a mini fridge in the front yard. I played the dad in that. So
Nice.
that was one definitely one of my favorite gigs, and it's still around. Like it's still every year on CBS on the greatest commercials they play it. So that's like one of my highest profile gigs. But I've done some short films that I'm really proud of that I actually produced, and I was the main actor, and I hired all the cast and crew, and so I did it from beginning stages all the way to the end, and once it won a bunch of both a couple of them they won a bunch of awards at film
Which are they?
festivals.
Are they like animation? Are they
Nope, live action.
action?
One's called Within and Without, and one is called Bathtub Chronicles. Those are two of the short films that I produced.
Bathtub Chronicles.
Bathtub Chronicles, yeah, perfect. Yeah,
That's so perfect. Oh my gosh. You'll have to send me the link so I can link it
sure.
down in the description. That'd be awesome. I would love to watch it.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. The Bathtub Chronicles is cool because it was about my daughter, not my real daughter, but my daughter in the in the film, who she gets abused. So we send her to rehab when
okay.
she comes back, and she decides to hijack the master bathtub in our bedroom until she recovers, basically. So she's in there for a long time. You don't know, like, that doesn't say how long in the film, but it's supposed to be over a month period of time where
Oh
she's
wow.
just in the bathtub, like doesn't get out. Just so, and it's about her healing. So it's a really good film. It was a really good script, and that was one of the reasons why I decided I wanted to produce it, because I loved the script, I loved the story. I got to play the dad, so it was a decent part for me. So
That seems like a
that,
really cool metaphor too. I mean, I know the bath is my safe place, and every time I'm in there,
exactly.
I just feel just so warm, bubbly, and you just let all of your worries wash away. And you know,
Yep, exactly. That's the metaphor. That's what it was about. And there's more to it.
yeah,
There's a
of
lot more
course,
to the story, but that's the
yeah,
basic plot.
healing wounds, all that good
Yep.
stuff. Yeah.
And then relationships. It's because it was about her relationship with her mom and me.
Oh,
So it was all that healing involved too. So and then she had like a religious spiritual advisor. So the relationship with her and then her boyfriend relationship with her. So there's all these different relationships that she's dealing with throughout the film. So
well, I love that. And why haven't you done animation since you do voiceovers, and voiceover acting is obviously a very big part of,
yep.
animated films. Are you considering that or
Well, I've done animation as an actor, voice actor,
oh, okay.
but producing animation is a lot different than producing a live action film with actors, because there's a lot more to it.
Mhm.
All the artwork and all, you do a live action, you get a script, You hire a crew, you schedule it, you film it, and I mean, it's not easy, but it's not. Animation adds another layer because you need to get people that actually do the artwork. And so
A lot of attention to detail. You have to make sure everything is bright, very fluid in motion, and you have to get pretty much just the right actors for it who can truly bring that character to life
right.
through
Well, you have to create the characters first. So
and
like that,
create the character.
yeah, you have to get a good story, a good script, and then someone has to actually draw the characters, create them. So that's even before you get to the voice actors. You need someone that's able to has the talent to be able to do that. So, it's more complicated. It's obviously more expensive to do it. So I will produce them at some point because I've been toying. I've had a couple of scripts that I've looked at that was thinking of doing, but for the time being, I'm doing some features now. So I'm
Nice.
going from shorts to features. I've got a couple in post that will be coming out soon. So
Can't wait. Can't wait. I don't know if you can like talk more about that. We can also talk more
sure.
about, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're ones that I produced, so I could talk about them. One's literally I just gave the final notes yesterday. It's called One, and that's another one where I was the actor in it, and it's about me. I'm the last person on the earth. There's everyone's disappearing around me. It's the rapture, and I don't want to conform, so I'm the last person here. It's about how I why I'm here, how I'm here. The story of how things around me just kind of collapse, and me kind of coming around at the end. So, but nothing can happen because it's too late. So I'm
Right.
stuck here. So, I kind of lose my mind too because I've been on Earth for 10 years all by myself. So, just think about that.
Yeah. Can
You
take a
know,
toll on anyone.
well,
Just,
think about being in quarantine, during COVID for a few months, but just think about being in quarantine for 10 years with nobody around. So,
oh God.
that's one film. Another one that I'm doing is called Hillsborough Road. It's a classic 1980s style slasher film. And I've always wanted to do a slasher film. Love horror.
Yeah.
I play the sheriff in that one, and I get killed by I get killed by killed by the main Jason type character,
Yeah.
like the Mike Myers Jason type. So
Yeah.
that one's almost done too.
Nice.
And then there's a third one that I did with Kevin Sorbo. I don't know if you know Kevin Sorbo. He was Hercules on TV back in the 80s, I guess. And
Oh,
he's
wow.
been doing a lot of spiritual type films, and
Wow.
that one's called Another Life. So that one I had a couple of scenes with him, and that's another great story. It's about Kevin Sorbo, who, as a child in the film, he couldn't hear. He was hard of hearing, and he got beat up by everybody. Everyone picked on him, and he his parents finally figured out that he was hard of hearing. And back then, like they had those, it was a huge thing. That was a hearing aid, like a huge thing you have to wear around your chest, and
Oh,
headphones like this. So he got to beat up more. So he, he
that's
the
so
film
sad.
start. Yeah, it is, and the film starts out as him like being a loser. He has no money, and then it goes through him becoming a very successful funeral director who's also a comedian. So he does stand up comedy, and he's successful with both. And then he becomes like president of the Funeral Directors Association at the end. So it's
Oh,
an
wow.
inspirational film, and it goes over life and death.
Yeah.
It covers everything, covers the spectrum. So
Yeah,
some
it
good
sounds
films,
like
I
an
think.
inspirational dark comedy type of genre, which is like super interesting.
It's got some comedy, comedic elements in
Yeah.
there for sure. Even with the like the some of the scenes with the death and the funeral director, the funeral home, and the embalming, and even that's some of that has comedic elements to it. So it's really a good film. So
Oh,
those are all three in post. They'll be out. They should be out this year. So
wow, this year. Wow. And what's your process like usually for the films? Because I feel like film writing is takes so much time
It
and
does.
so much conceptualizing.
Yep, it
Like,
does.
how do you kind of make time for that and also law and also just everything else that you do?
Well, filmmaking is very much of a team collaboration process. So like you could have your own ideas, but you can't do anything on your own. Really, you need a people all kinds of cast and crew around. I mean, you could shoot a one person thing, if you wanted to, but you still need cast or you still need crew,
Right.
to light you and to set up the camera and do the sound and because you can't do all that stuff yourself.
Yeah.
So
Running a
uh,
podcast by myself is hard enough. I can't
exactly,
imagine.
exactly. So the
Like,
filmmaking, it takes a long time for a
yeah.
film to develop. So it's not it's spread out over time and it's spread out over your team. So that's the way that's really the only way that if you have a life, you'll be able to make a film. So and I just make sure I have this people that I use over and over again, people on my team that I trust and like and we hey, let's do another one, and so then the hardest part's coming up with the funding. So that's what takes most of the time getting the funding down and usually it's everything has to fit together because you're not going to get funding normally and if you don't have a good story, if you don't have good cast and you don't have good production value. So you have to get everything to come together so you get the money and then go shoot it. So so it takes time and that's how I'm able to do it. Um Practicing law, same thing. I have people that I rely on for certain things. I obviously I'm not relying on people to go into court. That's my job, but or do the negotiations directly. But
Right.
but I have people that I give things to that can do some of the work, taking off my plate. So
That's
it's
good.
again, it's a team. It's all really. I mean, I guess the whole bottom line on anything is if you have a team, then that that that's really the way to do it. You need other people to help you. So
Yeah. That's something that I'm trying to work on myself because I mean, I don't know if you're based in New Jersey too, like I am, because I see that you have the ocean
Connecticut,
in New
yeah,
Jersey.
in Connecticut. Oh, that's I've been going there for 25 years for summers for vacation. So
I'm based in New Jersey, and a lot of people that I know personally, they're based in, LA, Texas, Miami, New York
yep,
City, but
yep.
they travel a lot, and it's just so hard to get a solid team that's not like completely virtual or online. But I
Well,
guess
virtual is the way to go now.
it is.
Yeah, you don't need your team here or in Jersey I'm in Connecticut, so I'm right outside New York. But you don't need that. Like a lot of my team members are all over the place. They're virtual, so they're not. I have certain people that are here, but not everybody. Like especially the film. I have people that I work with out in LA. I have people that I work with. Actually, it's one of my fellow filmmakers lives like 2 streets away from me. So, but that's just a coincidence. So, and then I have people in New York that I collaborate with. So, like they're all over the place. So, like these days, like we're doing here, right, with the Zoom, it makes the Zoom, Skype, FaceTime. It makes it easier to collaborate with people all over the place. So, and the virtual assistants, they're gold. I mean, having virtual assistants now, it's cheaper and easier, and if you get the ones that are right for you or ones that you like, then I use mine for I've been using them forever, and like that it's a big it, it's really good to have somebody that you can rely on
Right.
and that it's consistent and that you actually like and that's that it takes a lot of pressure off. It makes things easier. So
Yes. Yeah. So how do you kind of find, if I were an amateur voiceover artist, which I have considered, to be honest, because growing up, I always used to love watching so many different cartoons, ranging from SpongeBob to Dragon Ball Z to, whatever, Avatar,
Nice.
things like that. Yeah. And I always wanted to know what is the best way to get into voice acting? Do you have to kind of mask like different voices for the producers and executives, or do you have to like just go in using your own voice? Because I feel like a lot of people, they have different kind of vocal intonations for different things. Like even for myself, like I have like my YouTube voice, and then I have like my voice, like my personal like voice, I guess, that I use for like
Mhm.
friends and families. I don't know. I don't really know what to call it. I guess just
Your natural voice.
you know what, yeah, you know what I mean? So how do you kind of go into, well, first of all, how do you find those opportunities? And how do you kind of go into that audition process?
Well, there's different genres, like you're talking about animation.
Right.
So for animation, you're going to use your character voices,
Okay.
but a lot of animation, you're just using your natural voice too. So it really just depends on the project. And I forgot the answer to my worst gig ever. So I'm going to incorporate that into this answer
Okay.
because my worst gig ever was a voiceover gig. And some of the voiceover, one genre is e-learning. So that's a lot. That's a big genre of voiceover. Like where you
Right.
just narrate courses and you narrate, presentations and things like that. That's e-learning.
Yeah.
So the worst job I ever had was an e-learning job. And I, I remember I got this, it was like a 20-page narration that they wanted done. And I was up against, they had given it to me when the following day I was actually going to be doing a pilot for a TV show on the History Channel. So I didn't have much time to do it. I had like a day. So I did the read. Well, actually, I had a couple of days. Did the read, send it in. The day before, like the night before the pilot, they they sent it back to me and gave me feedback saying this is too boring, and they wanted me to do it over again. And so this is what the topic was. The topic was how to install a urinal and a stall
Not.
in the bathroom. That was the topic, 20 pages. How to install it. Put the screw here, put the panel here. And they're saying it's too boring. And I was like,
But it's a
garbage in,
boring
garbage out.
topic on
That's what
a
I said.
pretty boring
Well,
channel.
what do you
So
want me to do? Jump up and down? Going me to go to the bathroom and what am I jump in the tub? Like, what am I, what do you want me to do? How am I supposed to make this sound any less boring? And I said, do you think the guy who's screwing in the screws in the wall is going to care that it sounds boring or not?
right.
So I was just like, guys, I'm out. I'm going to find someone else to do this because I'm trying to get ready for the pilot, and they're giving me this stuff. So that was the worst job ever that I ever did voice. So
I cannot believe it. That is insane.
so so the way you find jobs, it really just depends on the genre. Like for books, if you like the one great genre, um, is audiobook. It's because you can do all the character voices if it's fiction, right? The only downside of an audiobook is it takes a long time. You have to
You have
narrate an entire book.
perfect that. Like you
So,
have to nail it. I feel like I would trip over my words all the time. I mean, I'm not dyslexic or anything, but I do read pretty quickly, and sometimes
mhm.
I do kind of skip words when I'm reading just because, my brain is like
Yep.
trying to
No,
keep
it
up with like
happens.
what my mouth is saying and all of that. So I really admire people who are able to read audiobooks
Right.
so patiently, by the way.
Yeah, that's a normal part, doing pickups and missing words and things. That's a normal part of doing audiobook. So normally you'd have someone edit it, they would listen and read, and then they'll tell you that you have to do pickups. So you just fix the lines, that you mess up. So that's normal. That's part of the process. But it's, if you like to do character voices like animation, you can incorporate that It's audiobook, and audiobook's a lot easier. There's a lot more books out there to narrate than, animation work. Animation work, it's it's like you said, SpongeBob, and how many cartoons can you count out on your hand? So it's a lot more competitive, of course. So just trying to find the work. There's only a few couple of ways. I mean, there's a few different ways to do it. You could get an agent to send you auditions. You can go online because there's different websites like
Backstage, I know Backstage has a lot of casting calls.
yeah, and well, there's one specific to voiceover, like Voice 123. That's one, or Badago. That's one. There's different websites that you go just to get voice work, like Backstage. Or you can do direct marketing yourself. So those are the ways. Those are the ways to get jobs. So, and most voice actors do all of them. So they're maybe on a website here. They're definitely direct marketing, and then they have their agents. So,
Oh.
but there's a lot of opportunity. Like, I mean, there's many voice agents. There's many websites, and direct marketing is, of course, that's like any job you do. You can. There's many companies out there that you can knock on their door. So
Yeah. And I feel
it's
like,
there
oh,
is work for sure.
yeah, because I'm thinking like you can build up quite a big tenure as a voice actor because even over time, even as your voice changes, as our voices naturally do, like I'm sure there's always work for a voice actor regardless. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, commercial work is another area that voiceovers artists really like doing. They like doing commercials.
that's standing.
It's yeah, well, that's another competitive area, of course. So most commercial work is done through a lot of it's done through agencies. So you get an audition, and
Is it
there's
better
it's a
to
matter
go
of,
through an agency or is it better to just, or can you just like do it on your own and like kind of like make it and
you can do it on your own. But if you want certain jobs, like if
okay.
you want to get top commercials, national TV commercials, you need an agent for those. Or if you want to, for the most part, getting animation jobs, the big ones, you're gonna need an agent to send you the auditions. That so it really just, but you don't. I mean, you can do so many of the other things that you don't need. You can just do it. You do it on your own. That you don't need to have an agent feeding you stuff.
Mhm.
But to have an agent feeding you stuff, it's kind of like I kind of treat that as the gravy. You know what I mean? Like I get those auditions that come in. Those are usually the bigger ones coming through the agencies. So if I get one of those, great. It's a bonus. A lot of people just have something that they do bread and butter. They'll have someone that's feeding them, some client that's feeding them constant jobs. Like an e-learning type of thing. You just churn them out, do them, get paid. You know,
Yeah.
you're not getting paid big bucks for them. But you're doing them so that you can pay your bills.
Yeah.
And then when a good one, big one comes in, that's when you get paid. You get paid the bigger bucks. So, national commercial is going to run, if it's a union, that's in the tens of thousands. You're going to get paid for that. So,
And every time it runs too, I mean, you still get, yeah.
yep.
So that's
Every time,
pretty awesome.
every time it runs, you're getting paid for it. So, and they can only use it for 13 weeks at a time. And they keep renewing the contract, or they only do it once, whatever. But you're still getting paid every time. Every time they use it, you're getting paid. So
And you're still getting paid for that Super Bowl commercial too. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
yeah, when they put it on
Crazy.
CBS, I get a little residual on it. But so
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I ever consider pursuing, I will definitely contact you and be like, hey, do you want to represent me at any point? Because
yeah,
you
I
never
know
know.
I know many people in the business, so I,
Yeah.
I can definitely help.
I mean, I've had people like steal my pictures for fake profiles, so I'm sure at some point someone might steal my voice for some
Well, so now
something.
that you brought that up, one of the things that I've been seeing are I've gotten two calls on this where people have stolen a picture and put like a fake testimonial under it for like vitamins or something, right? That's one thing I've seen. And then an even worse version of that is deep fakes. So people are
It's
like they're just
freaking me
making
out.
a complete like you talking, all AI. I've been seeing this more and more lately. You know, to do a
That
product
girl,
to
that
a
brunette
product for a
girl.
product.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's this like brunette girl who's been like going viral on the internet, and people are like, no, this is AI. Like, you would never believe this. This is AI. And she sounds like an actual human being. And
Right.
I was just watching it and I was in shock. I was like, there's absolutely no way that this can be AI, but apparently it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And they're using celebrities now. Like there was one with Tiger Woods. They were scamming people. You know, they were saying it was Tiger Woods' voice, but you know, it was AI. And he was saying, here, join this, enter this contest for these clubs. You only got to pay shipping and handling, $10, whatever. So it was a scam. It was a whole scam. So like I see those. It's crazy.
that's
So you have to
insane.
be so careful because you know AI. It's so good now that it's really hard to tell. You can tell still if you have a good ear and listen, but it's hard. It's hard. It's gonna and pretty soon you won't be able to tell. It'll
There
be
is a certain intonation that AI has. It's just a tinge of robotic,
well.
but
What happens is the words don't they don't match exactly. You know what I mean? Like if it's a 3 syllable word, like the last syllable is off a little bit. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like, but it's not bad. Like not really. You have to really. It's subtle. You have to really listen for it. Now, before you could tell because you know like it was like when you're on the Magellan. You know what I mean? Like, oh, turn left, turn right. You know, you could tell it was all different pitches and syllables and everything. So, but now it's not. Now the computer could really string the words and string the syllables together. And it's so sophisticated now. They put breaths in there, breath sounds. You know, like sighs and all this stuff. And they insert those in so that it makes it sound more real. It's crazy.
Freaky.
Well, because it's all because of machine learning because that's also AI. So what happens is the computer. So there, like there could be a model like Bev where she's the actual voice,
Mhm.
and that's one way to steal people's files and turn it into AI by making it an actual voice. But they could also use Bev's files just to teach other AI how to sound more human. That's machine learning, and that's what happens every day. Like right now, like the computer chat gpt is scanning all the files on the internet and like listening to how people talk, and then they're making it sound more natural. So
Yeah.
that's why it, it's getting better because machine learning every day it gets it to be so close to human that
Uh,
pretty soon it's going to match completely. You're not going to be able to tell. So scary.
Eventually we might be all out of jobs just because.
Maybe. Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I
Uh,
don't think that we as people are going to put up with just watching robots. You know what I mean? So I think we're still going to want to have the human
personality
one-to-one
and interact.
personal, yeah, whether it's by screen or whatever. But I don't think that the human race is ready to give up interaction for robots. I don't think so I think we're still okay for a while.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, we have like 10 seconds left. So thank you so much for everything. In case this cuts you off at any point, then I just want to say thank you so much, Robert. I really learned a lot